Can I stack multiple insurance policies for underinsured motorist coverage in Connecticut under Section 38a-336? If you were hit by an underinsured driver in Connecticut, you may be wondering whether you can combine multiple insurance policies to increase your recovery. In most cases, the answer is no. Connecticut law does not allow traditional stacking of uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. Stacking refers to combining the or UIM limits from multiple policies, or from multiple vehicles on a single policy, to increase the total compensation available after an accident. In states that allow stacking, a driver with two vehicles insured at $50,000 each could potentially access $100,000 in total benefits. Connecticut is considered an anti-stacking state. The Connecticut Insurance Department has made clear that state law does not provide for stacking of or UIM coverage. This means you generally cannot add together limits from separate policies or from multiple vehicles listed under one policy. Connecticut law addresses both intra-policy stacking and inter-policy stacking. Intra-policy stacking would combine coverage for multiple vehicles under one policy. Inter-policy stacking would combine coverage from entirely separate policies. Public Act 93,297 eliminated both forms, and later court decisions have reinforced that prohibition. Under Connecticut General Statutes Section 38a-336, b, insurers must pay up to the or UIM limits of the applicable policy after the at-fault driver's liability coverage has been fully exhausted. However, the total amount recovered from all policies combined cannot exceed the highest single or UIM policy limit that applies. If two policies each provide $100,000 in UIM coverage, your maximum recovery is typically capped at $100,000, not $200,000. The insurers share responsibility for payment, but they do not add their limits together. Connecticut courts have consistently upheld this rule. In Chmielewski v. Aetna Casualty and Surety Company, the Connecticut Supreme Court confirmed that stacking does not extend to fleet insurance contracts. There is, however, a narrow exception. If you purchased two entirely separate primary policies that both specifically name the same vehicle, you may be able to collect under both. In Lane v. Metropolitan Property and Casualty Insurance Company, the Connecticut Appellate Court ruled that when two separate policies covered the same vehicle, the insured was not barred from recovering the limits of both policies when damages met or exceeded those limits. This exception is fact-specific and requires two genuinely separate policies that each list the same vehicle. Simply having multiple vehicles on one policy does not qualify. Being covered as a family member under a relative's policy also does not automatically allow stacking. When you are injured as a passenger in someone else's vehicle, Connecticut applies a priority system. The occupied vehicle's policy is typically primary. Secondary or excess policies may apply after that. Even in those situations, the total recovery is capped at the highest single applicable policy limit rather than a combined total. Connecticut also offers an important alternative called Underinsured Motorist conversion coverage. Under Section 38a-336a, insurers must offer conversion coverage for an additional premium. Standard UIM coverage subtracts the at-fault driver's liability payment from your UIM limit. If you carry $100,000 in standard UIM and the at-fault driver also has $100,000 in liability coverage, your UIM benefit may be reduced to zero. Conversion coverage changes that calculation. With conversion coverage, your insurer pays up to your full UIM limit without deducting the amount already paid by the at-fault driver's insurer. If you have $100,000 in conversion coverage and the at-fault driver pays $100,000, you may still access an additional $100,000 from your own policy. Importantly, the cap on total recovery under Section 38a-336, b, does not apply to conversion coverage purchased under Section 38a-336a. Connecticut requires minimum or UIM limits of $25,000 per person and $50,000 per accident. Insurers must offer coverage up to twice your bodily injury liability limits. If you choose lower limits than your liability coverage, you must sign an informed consent form acknowledging the reduction. After an accident with an underinsured driver, it is critical to notify your own insurer promptly. You must also exhaust the at-fault driver's liability limits by payment of judgments or settlements before UIM benefits are owed. Settling for less than the at-fault driver's full policy limits may not satisfy the statutory exhaustion requirement. Many or UIM disputes in Connecticut are resolved through arbitration. If arbitration does not resolve the matter, litigation may be filed in the appropriate judicial district, including Waterbury Superior Court for accidents occurring within that district. Because these rules involve statutory interpretation and detailed policy language, speaking with a lawyer can help you understand your rights. An experienced attorney can review your insurance policies, determine whether an exception applies, and pursue all available sources of recovery. The right lawyer can also guide you through arbitration or court proceedings when necessary. DeFronzo Petroskey, PC is a personal injury law firm serving the Waterbury community and helping injured drivers throughout New Haven County pursue full compensation after serious accidents. For guidance on underinsured motorist coverage and your next steps, contact DeFronzo Petroskey, PC, 255 Bank Street No. 2B, Waterbury, Connecticut, 06702, United States, or call 203-756-7408 to speak with an attorney at this law firm today.